Ahead on New News, a new consumer report backs up Dr. Oz on his findings of high arsenic levels in some juices. No Shave November comes to a close, and mangagement rings. Should your future hubby wear one? Plus, we're featuring music from the Hip next in today's U-Tunes local music mix.
A couple of those stories we'll be talking about at the social media desk, but to say hello or hola, well, that's what some residents in Miami are discussing. Stick around, the full details coming up from the social media desk.
And while it was pretty darn cold this morning, we're looking for a couple of relatively mild days just ahead.
Live from the interactive studios of KOMU-8, this is U News at 4 with Sarah Hill.
Hello and welcome to U News at 4. It is the last day of November. It is No Shave November, and we'll be showing these guys in our Hangout in just a moment. They are ready to get rid of a month-long worth of scruff. They're going to do it live on TV. It's all to raise awareness for charity, and we are so glad that you guys have willing to part with your facial hair. Welcome to U News at 4. I'm Sarah Hill. It's been a long month for some of those guys. Coming up on today's show, we will have that live cyber shave. But first, let's get you caught up on the day's news. The Missouri Department of Economic Development faced a hostile House committee today, and that was at the Missouri State Capitol. The committee was in its second day of hearings on the failed Mamtech project in Moberly. The committee's chairman said the department should have been more cautious. He believes Moberly and the DED should make the filing uninhibited factory a priority. Residents in Portland are petitioning the U.S. Postal Service today to keep their post office open. Closing the Portland office in Callaway County would save more than $400,000, and the town would need a brand new zip code. Some residents would rather see the Postal Service charge more for bulk mail or suspend Saturday service. Residents plan to turn the petition in. That's coming up on Monday. 16 people in St. Louis are facing heroin charges for connections with an alleged heroin trafficking operation. FBI agents say the ring sold heroin in St. Charles County and Madison County in Illinois. Authorities say the ring distributed more than 1 kilo of heroin. The investigation began 2 years ago. Dave?
Another pretty day in mid-Missouri, lots of sunshine, and you know, with the wind not beating on us so heavily, it seems like a really nice afternoon. Got a gentle southerly wind right now at 5 miles per hour, and a clear scan on live Doppler 8. First alert radar. Well, before you know it, that sun's going to be setting. It's going to remain mostly clear for the next several hours, with our temperatures falling from the mid back into the lower 40s over the next hour or two. We'll have more on the forecast coming right up on U News at 4.
Thanks a lot. Central Missouri Community Action and the Rainbow House began construction of a new transitional housing apartment complex today. Another transitional housing complex currently houses 8 homeless youths. The new complex will house 10 homeless students. It's expected to open coming up next fall. One company announced that it is closing its Boonville plant by the end of September 2012. Indico builds electric heaters and controls. The company will also close its Pennsylvania plant, leaving all operations to 2 other plants in Missouri. Indico's president says consolidating the plants will reduce the company's total costs and also allow better competition with foreign competitors. Missouri received more than I'm sorry about that. If you've ever complained about Facebook's ever-changing privacy settings, listen up. The government has heard your voice. The Facebook creator and federal regulators reached an agreement today. In it, the government will audit the social network every 2 years for the next 2 decades. The FTC says Facebook passed along personal information about its users to advertisers. Detectives believe a serial killer is responsible for 10 bodies found along a New York beach today. Only 5 of the bodies have been identified so far. Police discovered all 5 were former escorts. Police found the remains during a search for a missing New Jersey prostitute. Authorities say a man and a boy's body were among the remains as well. European Union negotiators at today's climate conference say the U.S. needs to do more to fight climate change. One EU negotiator says the U.S. needs to keep the promises it made at last year's climate conference. The hosting city created new bike routes and also bike lanes for delegates. Electric cars are also available for longer distance trips. To say hello or to say hola? It is a question some residents are asking in Miami. More than half of that population there speaks Spanish. KOMU's Jonathan Ketch joins us now from the social media desk with that story.
Sarah, when most people think about it here in mid-Missouri, they probably wouldn't even think about saying hola, and that is because the majority of people here speak English. But in Miami, though, the situation is a little bit different, and that is because 65% of the population there speaks Spanish. So let's go ahead and take a look at what some people are saying about on Twitter with this. Chrissy says, hello, Miami, or should I say hola? I nearly forgot that English is your second language. And then moving on, Rachel says right here, either what's wrong with a bilingual city? So talking about why would it matter whether or not people say hello or hola. Then, folks, on Facebook, this story got a little bit heated. Bobby Vestal wrote here, last I knew, Miami is in America. You live in America, you should know how to speak English. And then right below, Megan Elizabeth says, here we go again. Grow up, people. Expand your small minds. Of course, folks, we would like to know what you think about this issue. Should you say hello or should you say hola, or does it really matter? Log on to Facebook. That's KOMU.com/Facebook and weigh in on the conversation. Sarah?
All right, Jonathan, thanks a lot. Missouri received more than $1 million from a federal trails grant today, and a chunk of that change will stay right here in mid-Missouri. KOMU's Christy Nix joins us now live in Columbia this afternoon to fill us in on where exactly that money's going. She's via Skype.
Sarah, $20,000 of that $1 million+ is going to be right here in Columbia with Columbia Parks and Recreation Department 3M Urban Ecology Renewal Project. That's here just off the MKT trails. You can see it's still pretty not too developed out here just yet, but they're working on it. So that $20,000 is actually going to go to some signage along the trail to help explain any kind of questions or things that people might have about the project itself, which will actually transform this 20 acres around me into wetlands. Now, the trail will actually loop around the wetlands once it's all completely built, which much of the trail is put in, it looks like, around here. Now, earlier today, I caught up with Columbia Parks and Rec Director Mike Hood, and he told me a little bit more about what these signs will actually explain to people.
What we're doing, why we're doing it, how it helps the environment. So it really is an interpretive signage is where the majority of the money will be used.
Now, Mike Hood also says that the project has been funded through several other grants and throughout the country, and also that the project should be complete maybe by spring of 2012. Reporting live in Columbia, Christy Nix, KOMU 8 News.
All right, Chrissy, thanks a lot. Joining us now are some elves from Rockbridge High School to tell us about an event coming up. It's called Breakfast with Santa. It happens every year. And first off, guys, introduce yourselves and tell us your connection to this program.
I am Morgan Reimler, and this is Pascal White, and we are both senior officers at Rockbridge High School, and there are 4 of us who are the head elves for Breakfast with Santa, and what it is our senior fundraiser. So it's where we get all our money to go on our trip and to do all our fun stuff for senior year.
So speaking of fun stuff, what will be going on for the kiddos on December 3rd? What time on December 3rd?
It starts at 9 o'clock, but you can start showing up at 8:30, and you can buy tickets at the door, or you can get them before at Hy-Vee. And you get a breakfast that we put together the morning of, and then there are crafts. But the most exciting part is you get to wait in line to see Santa and sit on his lap and tell him what you want for Christmas.
Wow, that is an exciting time. So you expecting a lot of kids?
Yes, we are expecting around 700 people, about 400 kids. So,
and is there a cost for this?
It's $5 at the door, but the crafts are all free. So
Excellent. Well, we wish you best of luck to that. I know Santa's making a special trip in, so all those kids watching out there, you want to make sure that you mark down December 3rd on the calendar. We so appreciate you guys joining us, and say hello to Santa for us, okay?
All right, thank you. Bye.
All right, and coming up in our hangout, we're going to have these guys. Look at that. Look at these beards that all of these guys are sporting. They are ready to shave. They have been waiting all November long, and our live cyber shave is coming up via Hangout in just a moment. Dave?
Sarah, this is, if you haven't noticed, the last day of November, and our temperatures for the evening hours, we're looking at pretty typical weather conditions, I think, in our forecast, with mostly upper 30s in the early part of the evening, into the low 30s in the latter part of the evening. We're looking for a high temperature tomorrow, pretty close to 50 degrees. By the way, that would be a bit above average. More on the forecast coming right up on U News at 4.
She fell face first off her 3 o'clock bus with the lights shining bright in her eyes. She's a Midwest princess looking kind of hopeless, living life in disguise.
And again, music there by the...
Sure is, sir. Today is the last day to vote for these cuties on the Heart of Missouri Girls on the Run campaign. It's part of the Pepsi Refresh Project. And the girls sent us these photos on the U News tab of our website. And if the group wins, it will receive $10,000. How about that? The group says that the money will allow the group to expand to other communities and other counties in mid-Missouri, as well as help more girls, which is always a good thing. So on the Pepsi Refresh page, the group says Girls on the Run has the power to guide girls to a lifetime of healthy living. And if you want to vote, you can visit the Refresh page. We have a link posted on our Facebook wall, or you can text the number below to 73744. Again, today is the last day to vote and show your support for these gals. We will be back in a bit with our live cyber shave. Look at those beards. Last look at those beards, because they are getting ready to come off. Back in a moment. Thanks a lot. Political and school leaders in Kansas City are scrambling to create a plan for the city's school district. This just days before the state will present its very own plan. The district is trying to buy time to create a community-driven plan. The historically troubled school district will lose its accreditation on January 1st. The Kansas City School District then has 2 years to regain its accreditation, or the state will take over. Collective bargaining is on the minds of teachers right here in mid-Missouri for Columbia Public Schools. The policy committee sent a revised exclusive representation model to the board. KOMU-8's Jonathan Ketz has that story from the social media desk.
Sarah, good afternoon once again. I think before you delve into the story, you really need to know what the exclusive representation model is and the multiple representation model is. Now, the exclusive representation model is where one group is supposed to represent all teachers, and that is what the National Educators Association supports. However, you've also got the Missouri State Teachers Association, which likes the multiple representation model, which is kind of the way things are right now, where two groups are able to discuss salaries, benefits, and even work conditions. So, a couple of people were talking about this on our Facebook page a little bit earlier on today. Let's take a look at what David has to say here. David says, Bolivar, Missouri has this, so Columbia should have this too. The real question that always comes up is whether the Missouri State Teachers Association or the National Educators Association get to do the representation. Now, right now, before that would even have to happen, the Board of Education has to accept this plan, this exclusive representation model that they are going to first read again at the next board meeting. So, much more on this story in a later date as they continue to try and solve this here in the Columbia Public School District. But for now, Sarah, we'll send it back on over to you.
All right, Jonathan, thanks a lot. A new federal grant for the University of Missouri researchers will allow them to study the relationship between organic farm crops and greenhouse gas emissions. Mizzou will receive $740,000 out of the nearly $19 million grant. Scientists will study gas release in organic crop soils. Missouri ranks 20th in the country in the number of organic farms, but many growers are reluctant to use green farming techniques. Meantime, sweet turned sour. The Missouri Department of Economic Development faced a hostile House committee today over the failed MAMTech project. That committee questioned how the department handled the project. The department admitted there were some risks involved. The committee chairman said the department needs to find another manufacturer that could use that factory. One previously homeless teen attended today's groundbreaking ceremony for a brand new transitional house for homeless students. 18-year-old Philip Leak was kicked out of his home last winter and spent 2 weeks sleeping in Hickman High School. He moved in with his school secretary for 5 months until the Rainbow House's Soul House took him in. Leak hopes that the new complex will do more for others than the Soul House was able to do for him. Glad that they're able to have that complex coming up. Now we are here with our live cyber couch where these guys, they have their faces all ready to go. They are ready to shave. But first, let's talk a little bit about what Movember is. And we have Mizzou for Movember here right now. And talk a little bit about what was the impetus for this? What started this project?
Well, what started Movember was when I was 19, my best friend got diagnosed with testicular cancer. And luckily he caught it at a young age, and it's a very prevalent disease, and it's something that needs to be out in the public eye a little bit more. And so I started Mizzou for Movember last year, and we've seen a big following this year, and it's just it's growing ever so much.
It is growing ever so much, including all of these gentlemen who are about to shave for the end of November. Aaron Perlett, tell us a little bit about your organization.
Sure, and feel free to call me doctor. I am the chairman of the American Mustache Institute, which was founded in 1965, and we are broadly considered the bravest organization in the history of mankind, behind only the U.S. military and the post-Jim Henson Muppets. We're a facial hair advocacy organization. We're relatively well known globally, and in fact, when Movember came from Australia into the U.S. 4 years ago, their CEO actually called us and asked us for their help in terms of penetrating the U.S. market. But we are essentially, we fight for the downtrodden mustached American people. And I've got to tell you, to see all these gentlemen that have shaving cream on their upper lips makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable because of the biblical implications therein.
All right, Aaron, we appreciate you joining us. But first off, guys, let's start with Daniel Weil there. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Start the razors. Let the razors begin.
Okay.
Yeah, very good.
Ugh.
Good stuff there. Very good. Looking good. It's all coming up as we go. So Mizzou for Movember, what's it like to see all of these guys do a live cyber shave? What do you think about it?
It's a little disturbing. We have a very awesome view in here in the blue room, and they're really going at it. It's kind of gross to look at. What do you guys think?
I'm proud they have it. It's interesting to see you guys shave. I've never actually had to see that before, so.
It's very up close and personal for us right now.
It is very up close and personal. Absolutely. Don't bleed.
I'm feeling cold already.
You got that right. All right, we will check back in with these guys in just a bit. But in the meantime, the next video might give a whole new meaning to the term Rocket Man. Of course, maybe Spin the Doofus is a better title. This falls under the category of do not try this at home unless you're really, really bored. You are looking live at our U-News Movembers. These guys braved a whole month of not shaving and were kind enough to come on live TV with us so you can see their buzz-free faces. They are making some really good progress there in our G+ Hangout. Welcome back to U News at 4. This obviously is to raise awareness for cancers that affect men, so we hope you have a good sense of humor about it. Have you ever been a part of a No Shave November?
No, I have not.
Yeah, well...
Kind of against the facial hair policy here, you know.
Yeah, well, do we have one of those policies? I don't think so. I don't know.
Oh, really?
We'll have to ask, and Stacey Wolf will get him to weigh in on that.
Okay.
Cold out there, my friend?
Well, it's better today than it was yesterday because we don't have as much wind, although the temperatures are about the same. Look at a clear scan of live Doppler 8 first alert radar. Nothing doing out there. Open blue sky. And, of course, that sun is setting, so it's going to remain mostly on the clear side. We'll have a temperature kind of sticking around in the low 40s here for the next couple of hours, but the breeze is better because it's less. Less is more. Winds are out of the south at 5 to 10 miles per hour. More forecast coming up.
So we have several techniques going on here. You know, we have the traditional shave. We also have the electric shave. Dr. Aaron, would you, from the American Mustache Association, would you talk a little bit about this disorder that affects men as far as the bare upper lip?
Sure, but I first think it would be important to address what your colleague just said about an on-air policy about facial hair. And you know, that is the reason why the American Mustache Institute exists today, because there are organizations such as yourselves that are willing to discriminate against people of mustached American heritage and not allow you know, our people in positions of influence. So I think that, you know, clearly, you know, thank you for admitting that on air. It's nice to have it on record so that when we set up a protesting interstation, we can do it with viable evidence. Now, Sarah, to get back to what you were asking about, there is a condition that we've studied at the American Mustache Institute called bare upper lip disorder, or BULD. And 1 in every 17.8 Americans actually suffer from BULD. There's nothing you can really do about it, but it simply does not enable the owner-operator to have a labia subuncula, which, of course, as you know, is Latin for lip sweater. And, you know, we've developed some remedies, but more important, counseling for people that suffer from BULD so that they can do their part in supporting a sexually dynamic mustached American lifestyle.
Well, that is great. That is great. And obviously, all of this is to support No Shave November. And the guys from Mizzou for Movember are here right now. Tell the folks briefly at home why all of this focus on the facial hair.
The focus on the facial hair is essentially our pink ribbon for prostate and testicular cancer, and so we want this the sign of facial hair to bring about awareness for men's health.
All right, and there's the pile of facial hair that you see right now. Good progress there. Dan Weil of Columbia, he's got it all the way down to a mustache. Congratulations to you guys. Oh, Stuart, clean shaven man.
Clean shaven Stuart. Look at
nice
that.
job.
Jamie over here, yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. Great stuff. All right, we'll check back with you guys in just a bit. In the meantime, moving on from facial hair into our Caption It contest. Did you see this video? We posted it on our Facebook page, and it is from the Walmart on Nifong. And these guys, they were just dancing. They were getting down while they were doing the bell ringing.
Wow.
Isn't that awesome? So here are some of the captions. Amy Childs Sanders says, no elves were harmed in the making of this video.
Christy Williams captioned, great way to work off those extra holiday calories.
And Sheila Durnall said, you may have sign dancers, but we have bell ringers. Let's get those bells a-ringing. And Tara Holcomb Sturgis says, they are getting jiggy with their jingle. Yes, they are. If you have a photo that you'd like us to caption, you can upload it to the U News tab of our website, the photo with the most likes. They get a thumbs up from our Hangout. Guys, can I have a thumbs up from our Hangout?
Oh, they're busy
you
shaving.
You also get verbal praise as well. And now here's Angie, who's getting jiggy with the 5 o'clock news.
Boy, it's a tough act to
he
follow.
loved the jingle. I'm going to go ahead and say that out loud.
Coming up on KOMU-8 News, first at 5, emotions running high during day 2 of the MAMTech hearings in Jefferson City, and a small mid-Missouri town wants to keep its post office open. Join us at 5.
Now, your live Doppler 8 First Alert weather with Chief Weathercaster Dave Schmidt.
Good afternoon to you. Well, that sun getting low in the sky. I think the sun sets now at something just right before 5 o'clock, about now, actually. We're a clear scan of live Doppler rate, first alert radar. Nothing showing up there whatsoever. We're still at 44 degrees. We may not see glowing sunshine like that at the moment, but the sky is clear. Winds are out of the south-southeast at 7 miles per hour. Humidity really low as the dew point temperature is just 13. That's not much moisture at all in the air. At the Lake of the Ozarks, we're at 48 degrees, 47 at Jefferson City. Sedalia's at 49. Those are among the warmer readings. We're looking at 40 in Herman, and we're in the 30s in Mexico and in Paris. 36 and 37, just a little cooler air mass on the eastern side of our KOMU-8 viewing area. On the surface map, largely a clear view, although we have a big disturbance out to our northwest. This is kind of a slow mover, and this is probably the main reason why we have a bit of rain to talk about in Saturday's forecast. Not tomorrow, not Friday, but on Saturday we could see some periods of rain. So here's a look at my live Doppler rate first alert forecast. Mostly clear and chilly tonight, but not as cold as this morning's official 21. We're looking at 28 tomorrow morning with a southerly breeze. Then for the day tomorrow, Thursday, it's going to be partly cloudy and mild with a high temperature a bit above average actually at 50-ish. And then for tomorrow night, we'll get down to about 30 for a low temperature on Friday morning. 45 on Friday. Here comes the periods of light rain on Saturday. Don't expect a soaker or a washout, but we'll have some periods of rain, particularly midday into the afternoon. And then cooler temperatures Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Here's a look at the rest of my live Doppler rate first alert 8-day forecast. And that's the latest on the weather at 4:52. Sarah?
Dave, thanks a lot. When you see a man walking down the street and he has a ring on his left hand, you likely assume that he's married, but there is a new trend popping up called a man-gagement ring, and men are actually wearing rings when they're engaged.
Yeah, engagement rings. The Huffington Post reported on this article, but man-gagement rings. And when you first look at the article, you think man-gagement. Well, it almost looks like management and not man-gagement, but that first G catches people off guard. Anyways, let's take a look at what some people were saying on Google Plus on this. And Sarah, look, it's Joseph writing in and commenting on this story here. What does it say about me when I don't even wear a wedding band after 34 years of marriage? Hopefully the wife's not watching, huh?
Yeah, hopefully not.
Moving down, Elizabeth says here, I was raised in a traditional Eastern Orthodox Christian household. It is very common for couples to both have engagement rings given during a short ceremony after Sunday. So it seems like a lot of countries also do this where both people wear the engagement ring. So I wonder if it'll catch on here.
Yeah, it won't catch on in my household. My husband's been through almost 3. He's on his 3rd wedding ring, has lost all 3 of them.
Ooh, not good.
Not getting a man-gagement ring in our house. Back in a moment. Massive strikes are underway in the United Kingdom today. Nearly 2 million teachers, hospital staff, and border guards are protesting reforms. Unions say the reforms will force workers to pay more for their pensions and also work longer before retirement. The strike is Britain's first in more than 30 years. Los Angeles police removed Occupy protesters from a park near City Hall today. All but about 200 of the protesters left before the raid to avoid arrest. Police have not said how many people they arrested. City officials offered to open a homeless shelter for people who were using the park as a place to sleep. Today, Missouri gubernatorial candidate Dave Spence acknowledged he received a DUI in 2004. Spence says he wanted to get that out in the open. He said police pulled him over after a night of celebrating with his friends. Spence said it was a huge mistake and he lost his license for 3 months. Callaway County today are signing a petition to keep their post office open. One resident is worried people will break into his personal mailbox to steal his medication if it can't be shipped to the post office. Others don't want to deal with the hassle of driving to another post office. The Postal Service will announce its final list of closing post offices. That's on December 12th. And the Indico Company announced it will close its Boonville plant by September of next year. 2 locations will remain open in Missouri. However, the consolidation will add 85 jobs to the Monroe City location. The company's president encourages Boonville employees to relocate in order to go to Montgomery City. And now here's a final look at our hangout for Mizzou November. All right, how about that?
How about that?
How'd you like that live shave?
Well, they were using some unusual strokes. I mean, they were in danger of nicking themselves.
Yeah, they were, and we certainly
going
wouldn't
way
that
too
to happen.
fast.
Hey, the 5 o'clock news with these guys is next. So here is to you. We leave you with music from the Hypnex. Have a nice night.
She fell face first off her 3 o'clock bus with the lights shining bright in her eyes. She's a Midwest princess looking kind of hopeless, living life in disguise. It ain't what she's seen in magazines, no TVs, no movie screens. It's long days, late nights, fighting off the stage fright. Won't you walk on?